Dead men tell no tales, but their ships speak volumes. Welcome to the Cursed Compass, where we explore the darkest maritime mysteries. On December 12, 1909, a tugboat patrolling 15 miles off the coast of Erie, Pennsylvania, spotted a lone object bobbing in the freezing, choppy water. It was Lifeboat No. 4. Inside lay 9 crewmen, frozen solid in light work clothes. Scattered across the bottom of the boat were the discarded, ice-encrusted garments of a 10th man who had succumbed to paradoxical undressing and jumped overboard. Steward George R. Smith was also found in a boat, frozen around 2 large knives and a heavy meat cleaver taken from the ship's galley. What sequence of events could have befallen the SS Marquette and Bessemer No. 2 to force this desperate final act? This photograph shows the state-of-the-art 350-foot steel behemoth in question. She was built with 4 interior rail tracks designed to swallow 30 fully loaded train cars at a single time. But to easily load those trains, early car ferries were built with an entirely open stern. There was no sea gate. The cargo tracks were left completely exposed to the open water, leaving the ship highly vulnerable to following seas. Just 1 month earlier, a heavy storm drove massive waves directly through that opening, pouring hundreds of gallons of water toward the internal engine compartments. The ship barely survived. The captain immediately begged the company to install a sea gate. They agreed, but delayed the work until the season ended. On December 7th, the Ferry cleared the docks for her daily run to Ontario, carrying a passenger with a briefcase containing $50,000 in cash. By the time the ship hit open water, the temperature had plummeted from 42 degrees down to 10. The corporate decision to delay a known engineering fix ensured that the ship's survival now depended entirely on the direction of the wind. This image captures the brutal reality of winter sailing on the Great Lakes. By nightfall, the Marquette and Bessemer No. 2 was fighting blinding 75-mile-per-hour gale force winds and accumulating massive sheets of ice across her superstructure. Her route ran straight across Lake Erie, from Conneaut to Port Stanley. She reached Canada as residents heard her distress whistle between 3 and 5 a.m. But the timeline breaks down. Ohio witnesses swore they heard her whistle off the southern shore at 1:30 a.m. The ship could not be in 2 places at once. The only logical explanation lies in the physics of sound. Frigid air over freezing water creates a temperature inversion that can refract sound waves downward, carrying whistles for miles while severely distorting their actual direction and distance. Those overlapping, geographically impossible ghost whistles shattered any hope of mapping a reliable search grid, turning a localized sinking into a phantom legend. Out in the dark, the fatal flaw finally gave way. Giant waves repeatedly breached the open stern, surging forward to flood the cargo hold and completely drown the boiler fires. Stripped of power, the massive ship was paralyzed. She rolled deeply into the troughs of the waves, adopting a severe, permanent list that made launching the lifeboats on the high side impossible. A panic-stricken crew, suddenly trapped on a sinking ship with unusable lifeboats, faced a terrifying reality. Historians suggest this points directly to the meat cleaver in Lifeboat No. 4, that desperate men may have turned on their officers to secure a seat. 10 months after the sinking, Captain McLeod's body washed ashore in Ontario, covered in severe slash wounds. Whether those gashes were the result of a violent struggle or simply the physical ravages of jagged ice and floating wreckage, the ship's final moments were defined by inescapable terror. Following the loss of all 33 men, the company immediately commissioned an exact replacement ship. They gave it the identical name, and revealingly, they finally installed the stern gate Captain McLeod had begged for. Despite decades of modern side-scan sonar and remote-operated vehicles scouring Lake Erie, the 350-foot vessel and its 30 train cars remain completely undiscovered. The prevailing theory is that the immense concentrated weight of the 30 coal-filled steel train cars in the stern drove the ship down like a spear, burying it completely within the soft, deep silt of the lake bed. Today, the wreck of the Marquette and Bessemer No. 2 stands as a buried monument to industrial hubris. She lives on only in local lore, where residents of Conneaut swear that on freezing, wind-whipped nights, you can still hear her phantom distress whistle crying out for a safe harbor.